Listen closely, because this moment might change how you see love forever. Right now, someone is thinking about you in the quiet hours, not with words, not with messages, but with memory and tension, and they feel the absence you created when you chose silence over chasing. And that is where your power begins. Most people never realize this truth. They talk too much, explain too much, give too much, and then wonder why respect fades and desire weakens. The Stoics warned about this centuries ago, not in modern language, not in dating advice, but in principles of self, mastery, restraint, and calm dominance over impulse. When you learn to stand still while emotions move around you, when you stop reacting and start observing, relationships shift in ways that feel almost dangerous because they awaken something primal and deeply human. This is not about manipulation. It is about alignment with nature, and nature rewards strength that does not beg to be seen. In the beginning of every connection between a man and a woman there is tension, not the loud kind, but the quiet kind that lives in glances, pauses, and what is left unsaid. That tension is fragile. The moment one side tries too hard to define it, control it, or label it, the energy leaks away. Stoicism teaches that desire grows in space, not pressure. Silence is not emptiness, it is structure. When you speak less, your presence speaks more. When you do not rush to fill gaps, the other person steps forward to meet you. This is why the calm individual who listens more than they speak often becomes unforgettable. They are not trying to impress, they are simply rooted in themselves, and that stability creates a magnetic pull that words alone cannot create. Most people confuse emotional availability with emotional overflow. They believe being open means revealing everything, every fear, every insecurity, every craving. But the Stoic path teaches discernment. You do not lock your heart, you guard it. You allow intimacy to grow through shared moments, not emotional dumping. In relationships, especially romantic ones, mystery is not deception, it is respect for the unfolding process. When a man or a woman reveals themselves too quickly, they rob the connection of discovery. Desire thrives on anticipation. The Stoics understood this through discipline. They knew that the strongest fire is not the one that flares instantly, but the one that burns steadily, controlled, and warm enough to draw others close without consuming itself. Silence in a relationship is often misunderstood as coldness, but in truth it can be the deepest form of confidence. When conflict arises, the impulsive response is to argue, to defend, to prove a point. Stoicism asks for something harder. It asks for pause. In that pause, emotions settle, clarity rises, and power shifts. When you choose silence instead of reaction, you deny chaos its fuel. The other person is left facing their own emotions without your participation in the storm. This creates reflection. It creates respect. It often creates longing, not because you disappeared, but because you remained centered while everything else shook. Attraction is not built on constant reassurance. It is built on polarity. Strength invites softness. Calm invites vulnerability. When you are grounded in yourself, when your happiness does not depend on another person's validation, you become a place of safety. This is especially powerful in intimate relationships, where emotional and physical closeness intertwine. The most intense moments are rarely loud or rushed. They are slow, deliberate, filled with awareness. A touch held a second longer than expected. Eye contact that lingers without words. A shared silence that says more than conversation ever could. These moments are not accidental. They are created by self-control and presence. Stoicism is not about suppressing desire. It is about mastering it. Desire, when uncontrolled, makes people needy. Neediness repels. Desire, when guided, becomes focus. Focus attracts. In relationships, this mastery shows itself in how you handle intimacy. You are attentive but not desperate. You are affectionate but not clinging. You enjoy closeness without losing yourself in it. This balance creates trust. It also creates a deeper form of attraction because the other person senses that you are choosing them, not clinging to them for identity. Many people fear silence because silence forces confrontation with the self. When you stop talking, stop texting, stop explaining, your mind becomes louder. Old fears surface, doubts appear. This is where most people run back into noise. The Stoic stays, they sit with discomfort. They observe it. They learn that emotions rise and fall like waves, and if you do not fight them, they pass. This inner stability changes how you show up in relationships. You stop seeking constant confirmation. You stop chasing attention. You become selective, and selectiveness is attractive because it signals value. In modern relationships, especially in the fast-paced culture of the United States, everything is instant. Messages are expected immediately. Feelings are expected to be clarified instantly. Boundaries are often ignored in the name of passion. Stoicism offers a counterbalance. It says slow down, observe, choose. When you respond instead of react, you reclaim control over your emotional life. This does not make you distant, it makes you intentional, and intention is felt. People can sense when your actions are deliberate rather than impulsive. That sense of intention builds trust and desire at the same time. Intimacy is not only physical. It begins long before touch. It begins in how you listen, in how you hold space, in how you do not rush to fix or dominate a conversation. When someone feels truly seen without being interrogated, they relax. When they relax, attraction deepens. Stoicism teaches presence, to be fully where you are, not planning the next move, not rehearsing the next line. Just being. In relationships, this presence is rare, and because it is rare, it is powerful. There is also strength in restraint, in not taking every opportunity to push for more, in allowing desire to build naturally. When physical closeness happens too quickly without emotional grounding, it often burns out just as fast. The Stoic understands timing. They understand that anticipation is part of pleasure, that patience intensifies experience, that holding back can make the eventual closeness more meaningful, more charged, more unforgettable. This is not about denial. It is about respect for the process and respect for the other person's emotional rhythm. Self-respect is the foundation of all attraction. When you tolerate disrespect, when you chase someone who gives you uncertainty, when you abandon your boundaries for attention, you communicate a lack of value. Stoicism teaches that your worth is not negotiable. You do not beg for consistency. You observe behavior and decide accordingly. This calm decisiveness creates clarity, and clarity is attractive. People feel safer with someone who knows themselves and stands by their principles without needing applause. Silence also reveals truth. When you stop filling space with words, other people reveal themselves. They project, they explain, they show you who they are. This is invaluable in relationships. Instead of guessing intentions, you allow actions to speak. Instead of forcing connection, you let it grow or fade naturally. This protects your energy. It also keeps you aligned with reality rather than fantasy. Stoicism is deeply rooted in seeing things as they are, not as you wish them to be. In moments of intimacy, this clarity becomes even more important. Physical closeness can cloud judgment. Desire can blur boundaries. The Stoic remains aware. They enjoy the moment without losing perspective. They understand that connection should add to life, not consume it. This awareness creates a grounded sensuality, one that is confident, unhurried, and deeply appealing. It is the difference between hunger and appreciation. Hunger is frantic, appreciation is calm and focused. Many people fear that being stoic means being emotionless. This is a misunderstanding. Stoicism is not the absence of feeling, it is the mastery of feeling. You still feel attraction, longing, passion. You simply do not let these emotions dictate your actions. This self-command creates inner peace. It also creates an outer presence that others find compelling. People are drawn to those who are comfortable with themselves, who do not need constant validation, who can enjoy connection without losing autonomy. In relationships between men and women, polarity thrives when both individuals are whole, when neither is trying to complete the other. Stoicism encourages wholeness. It asks you to build a life, values, and identity independent of romantic validation. When you bring that fullness into a relationship, you create something healthy and exciting. The other person feels chosen, not needed. That distinction changes everything. Silence after intimacy can be powerful too, not withdrawal, not avoidance, but calm presence, allowing the moment to settle, not rushing to define it, not demanding reassurance. This shows confidence. It shows trust in the connection. It allows emotions to deepen naturally. The Stoic understands that not everything needs to be explained. Some things are better felt and allowed to unfold. There will be moments when silence is misunderstood. When someone projects insecurity onto your calm, this is where Stoic courage comes in. You do not overcorrect to soothe someone else's anxiety at the expense of your authenticity. You communicate clearly when necessary, but you do not abandon your nature to be liked. This balance between clarity and restraint is key. It shows maturity. It builds respect. Stoicism also teaches acceptance of impermanence. Not every connection will last. Not every attraction will deepen. This acceptance frees you from desperation. When you are not afraid of loss, you stop clinging. When you stop clinging, you become lighter, and lightness is attractive. People feel it. They sense that being with you is a choice, not an obligation. The most magnetic individuals are not the loudest or the most dramatic. They are the calm ones in the room, the ones who observe before speaking, the ones who do not chase attention, but naturally receive it. This is Stoic presence. It is built through self-reflection, discipline, and respect for one's own boundaries. In relationships, this presence creates a sense of intrigue and safety at the same time. At the core of all of this is the relationship with yourself. How you speak to yourself, how you handle rejection, how you respond to desire. If you are at war with yourself, that conflict will show up in your relationships. Stoicism invites peace within. When you are at peace with yourself, your interactions become smoother, more genuine, more grounded. You stop trying to impress and start simply being, and being is enough. There is a quiet confidence that comes from knowing you can walk away if something no longer aligns with your values. This confidence cannot be faked. It is felt. It changes how you are treated. People respect those who respect themselves. They are drawn to those who do not fear solitude, because solitude mastered is power. Silence chosen is strength. In the end, Stoic relationships are not about control over others. They are about control over self. They are about showing up with integrity, presence, and restraint. They are about allowing attraction to grow through space, trust, and calm intensity. When you embody these principles, your relationships change. Not because you force them to, but because you have changed. And that change is felt in every look, every pause, every moment of shared silence. So remember this when emotions rise and words rush to your tongue. Pause, breathe, choose silence when silence serves you. Choose words when words are necessary. Stand firm in who you are. Let desire breathe, let connection unfold. In that calm, grounded space, attraction deepens, respect grows, and relationships transform in ways that feel almost inevitable. This is the quiet power of Stoicism. This is the strength that does not announce itself. And once you live it, nothing about your relationships will ever feel the same again.